Good Friday morning, East Tennessee. My name is David Aldridge, Chief Meteorologist of Captain Accurate Weather, coming to you by way of the Captain Accurate Weather Command Center. Happy that you're here. We've got some snow in the forecast. Some of you are dealing with snow right now. Some of you are wondering, is it going to get worse? Probably not. What you've seen is what you get in some cases, but again, the Smokies, an entirely different atmosphere and an entirely different environment if you're in the higher elevations. It just is. I mean, people like to compare apples to apples or apples to oranges. I mean, you couldn't get any more orange and apple than what you get from, say, Mount LeConte in Knoxville, right? Because Knoxville, about 900 feet above sea level, and Mount LeConte, which will get probably a lion's share of this snow, they'll be closing in on over 600 feet above sea level. So they get a lot more snow than we do. But here's the radar view. And where the reflectivity, you like that word, that's a radar terminology, the reflectivity of these snowflakes are not always seen as easily. Flurries are very difficult to discern, but certainly there is that element as we look at the Ultimate Doppler radar here at 642. The Ultimate Doppler radar presented by Marco's Pizza. I'm going to talk more about them in a moment. But you can see the purple counties are still highlighted. That's where the accumulation was going to be perhaps an issue. And if you have a weather report, I would love to hear it because I'm going to put your comment on the screen. Bear with me, I did not load that as quickly, but I wanted to show you at least two images of the radar. This one showing the snow around Newmarket, maybe down towards, say, up towards, say, Rogersville, coming into places like Claiborne County. Those are the spots that might be dealing with snow showers, but the question is it actually sticking? And one best way to see that is to look at the temperature, which we're going to look at here in a moment. I want to check your comments. I'm also on YouTube. If you're on YouTube, I'd love to share your thoughts online and put your picture on the screen. I can do that now. We can put this in the screen. But if you got a comment, let me know. This is the motion of it over the last 8 hours. I want to switch gears and look at this image because this takes the radar image from Morristown and switches it over to the national composite. And you can see there have been flurries or flakes flying down from parts of eastern Kentucky, riding the Big Stone Gap, riding into the Smokies, and it's the upslope flow of air that's helping to squeeze out more flakes in the higher elevations. So that's what we're seeing essentially come down from Somerset to Jellicoe, and some of you have had maybe some raindrops mixed in as well. I've heard some reports of some sleet in Luttrell from a post last night, but I did do a special live stream last night, but this shows you over the last couple of hours. It has been snowing. Just want to know, or curious to know, what you are seeing. If you got a comment, let me know. Let me see if I can get the comments on. Some of you might be coming. I'm looking at my phone. I'll come back online on camera. Let's see here. I pushed the wrong button there. Yeah, it's one of the things about technology. You got to love it until it works, or does it work? That's when you say, oh, it's great until it doesn't work. Anyway, I got Teresa watching. I got Marilyn Bell says, happy Friday. Everyone travels safe. And then Fred says, good morning. It's cold and breezy, 39 in Maryville. So we're keeping an eye on the snow. The question is, did you get, I'd love to say, are we going to get some snow? Or are we going to see some snow? People like to ask that question. I think most of us saw some snow. But we maybe didn't get some snow because the snow shovel is still in the garage. It's not been pulled out because it hasn't been that big of a situation, because the temperatures are the big key here. I did mention I have some comments. I believe I have got them now. I'll put Karen on there. Karen says, good morning, David. She's got 34 degrees at Fairfield Glade. I like how you abbreviated that. She says, I got a tiny bit of snow last night, but it's all gone. Oh, isn't that sad? It's one of those sad things. But there's things, like I said, it's early in the season, but it is late in November. I got a note from Danny saying, go Vols, and also the 39 degrees in Maryville from Fred. Danny's on here as well. He says, hope you have a great Friday, and go Vols. So we've got the snow. Let me bring you up to speed from the Weather Service. They did update their winter weather advisory. There was to expire at 10 o'clock this morning, but no. They decided, as I indicated, you probably have another round tonight. When it gets dark, you get some mischief and mayhem as far as the flakes, but now their verbiage is up to 4 inches. Up to 4 inches. I'm sure there could be 5 to 10 in the Mount LeContes, the Klingman domes, or I guess it's now Kuwaki, but the notice that most of the higher terrain will pick up the lion's share of the snow. And the gusts up to 40 miles per hour still being articulated. Right now, if you want to know if it's sticking, this is probably your best map. If it's 39 degrees in Knoxville, it ain't sticking. If it's not sticking well, it's not going to stick around. Even though Fairfield Glade may be in the mid-30s, even Karen says it's now gone. 37 is the temperature in Jacksboro. If we were 10 degrees colder, then it would be an entirely different situation. It is 6:45, 37 right now in Newport, 36 in Morristown. We've got 36 in Bell County, but freezing in Jonesville, where I'm sure they're going to have more snow on the ground or in the grassy surfaces. The winds are pretty breezy. I've got us gusting I have us gusting 25 to 30 today, and most of those strong winds will be on the front half of the day. And it's interesting because yesterday, like the day before, we had midday highs. Today, I think the high comes in around 2 or 3 in the afternoon, so it won't necessarily be at the top of the lunch hour, but you'll find the temperature today will be in the mid to upper 40s, like 47 for most in the valley. But if you squeezed out a couple of upper 40s to near 50, that too wouldn't surprise me. And with a 25 to 30 expectation, you can see we are currently dealing with a 28-mile-an-hour gust, but it is clearly stronger in the Smokies. The wind chill makes that temperature feel like it's 30. The feels like temperature in Oneida is 29 and feels like 25 in Crossville. No wonder many of us have turned on the light switch. If you have one of those fancy light switches for the fireplace, maybe you've thrown on a log on the fire through the overnight. Hopefully you'll stay warm tonight because it won't be quite as cold. We'll be in the upper 30s tonight, but maybe not as chilly as it is now. 39 is the current temperature in Knoxville, 34 in Johnson City, and it's 42 in both Nashville and Chattanooga. Here's the situation. It's all been coming down from the north. It's a spin around the big low that's moving across the mid-Atlantic, and there's more snow in Pennsylvania, and there's more rain in parts of upstate New York and parts of New England. Our high temperatures today are here on the screen. I suspect we'll hit 47 on today between about 2 and 3 p.m. Expect some early flakes and drops, clouds and hazy sun for your Friday. 50 degrees for a high in Athens. I think that's reachable. 49 in Tellico Plains, but don't expect much higher than 44 in Oneida and Jamestown this afternoon. Got a couple notes here. Yesterday, we hit 51. Mentioned it happened at midday, 12:20 to be precise. We hit 51. The low was 35. We had a gust of wind yesterday of 37. I was expecting 40 plus, didn't quite get there, but 58.36 is the normal high and low. The record high today goes back to Herbert Hoover, 1931 era. It was 77. We're not that warm. And 15 is the low, record low from the George W. Bush era of 2008. So there you have it. So you have 77, 15 record highs and lows. We're not anywhere near the record highs, but it seems extreme because we've been so warm. As of the last couple of days, it's been warm for most of November. Not much in the fog category. Some low clouds may have reduced visibility in Greenville there. It looks like 2 miles. In some gray areas, it might even be lower. But that's the visibility. Here's the radar again. If you're just joining us at 6:48, would love to hear what you're seeing. And we can zoom in a little bit here because where the snow is perhaps most noticeable would be in these blue areas. That would be around Dandridge, Jefferson City. We could include White Pine and Talbot as well. Bulls Gap, a little bit of snow falling perhaps around Houston Valley, back toward Pleasant Grove, and just around the Newport area into Cock County. So there are some opportunities, but if we rewind this particular image, I don't know why I have the strikes of lightning on there. That's from an old point of view. We'll put that over here. But you can see over the last 8 hours, some of that snow has been maybe a little bit thicker. Some of the bands coming down from Jefferson City, moving into Greenville. So this kind of lines up with that horseshoe effect that we talk about so often with the cold air. Got a note from Dawn Rumsey. She's on here. She says, "Good morning, David. I hope everyone has a blessed day and weekend, as to you as well." I don't know if that got sent on there. Let's see. Did I get this on the screen? There it is. Good morning. She says, "I hope everyone has a blessed day and weekend." I got a note from Wanda Poe, our Team Snow fan. Wanda's on YouTube this morning. She says, "The schools are, in fact, 2 hours late in Cock County." That's excellent intel. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. She says, the flakes are blowing around here in Newport. I think cautious when it relates to schools is a wise move. So being cautious 2 hours late for Cock County. So glad to have that information. Thank you, Wanda. And Diane Ladyhawk says, "Good morning." She's got 3 cold emojis. She's not too thrilled maybe with the chill, but she's probably ready for it. She's prepared. I got a note from Steve Stone in the G picture here. He's got the sunshine and the happy face. And I'm wearing my Vols tie. I think I got the Vols tie on with the checkerboard because I figure we're going to get a lot of touchdowns. When you're playing a team that's 2-8, and we're 8-2, I think this is going to be an easy matchup, but we can't take any game for granted, especially this late in the season. That I recognize, but let's get to that forecast here in just a moment. It is 6:50. By the way, Marco's Pizza, if you're planning some lunch ideas, they are my sponsor for the Captain Accurate Ultimate Doppler Radar. They've got locations in Hardin Valley and Farragut, Maryville, Fountain City. They've got locations in Halls and Oak Ridge, Middlebrook Pike, and Ebenezer Road. They're big community sponsors for No Kid Hungry, as well as they give back to East Tennessee Children's Hospital. You got to love a pizza establishment that's community oriented. Whether it's a pepperoni magnifico for less than $10 or maybe a great lunch item for less than $6, the Pozzoli is absolutely delicious. You might love the pepperoni and sausage. That's my personal favorite. All you have to do is go to marcos.com, and yes, they do deliver even in snow flurries. Ooh, well, it won't last that much longer. This is the worst of it. Even tonight, it's going to be mainly up toward Unicoi County. I think it's going to be in the Tri-Cities. Most of the snow tonight should be pretty far away from Knox County. And then the rain you can see picking back up near Montreal, and snow in across parts of Pennsylvania. And then you look at the big picture, quiet across the south and east. Did you know the drought monitor came out yesterday? I thought it was worth noting a lot of the areas that got the heaviest rain from Helene are now shaded yellow. So they got more of the rain than maybe others to the west of I-75. But the west of I-75 area is now turning red, which would mean extreme drought. That's level 4 out of a possible 5 levels. The 5th level says exceptional. So thankfully we don't have that yet, but Harriman and some areas around Harriman are in that red area. Yellow for Seymour, Kodak, Dandridge. This is the abnormally dry level. It is technically a drought, and yes, you come back home, it's a moderate drought for Hardin Valley and Oak Ridge, and Carnes is right on the cusp of yellow and brown, light brown. But where you see some orange would be a severe drought, that's Kingston. But our friends in Rockwood would be the center, essentially, of the worst of it. As far as the drought is concerned, this is from NOAA. This is a product they put out every month. Put it out 4 times a month because it's weekly. And it's now on the Captain Accurate Weather app. So if you ever want to get this quickly, just download my free Captain Accurate Weather app. You can get the drought monitor every Thursday morning. It is issued around 8:30 a.m. each and every Thursday. But the big picture shows a little bit better in South Florida. They've had all the hurricanes down there, so they're not in a dryness situation. But there are, in fact, other red areas. New Jersey comes to mind. Parts of the Midwest and up toward the areas around Montana. Now, we have received 1.67 inches of rain. We did not have any snow reported at the airport yesterday, but I got to show you this. If you're planning for travel, let's go ahead and get past the flakes here this morning. If you're planning on Thanksgiving and family coming in, maybe they're coming in on Turkey Day itself. This is going to be maybe a little bit surprising for you, but it's pretty quiet through Saturday. It's the heavy rainmaker that's coming in on the actual holiday. So Thanksgiving is going to be soggy. I don't expect any dry turkeys or even any dry eyes on Thursday, because you can see by the 26th, we've got a little bit of rain coming in Monday night into Tuesday. That takes us through 5 o'clock. But look at this. This stops the clock at 2 o'clock on Thanksgiving. You mean we could get over an inch of rain? That's what some of the data would suggest. I don't think it'll be quite this much, but I do think you're probably in that inch and a quarter as a general rule for just Turkey Day itself. And if you play this out even further, this stops at 2 o'clock when some have already eaten their meal. But if you're going to eat later and then you take it to 11 o'clock, some of the data is swinging for the fences with plus 3 inches. That'd be a lot of rain. That would be a lot of rain and certainly a soggy flooding concern. If that verified, we'll keep an eye on Turkey Day, Thanksgiving. Sun up at 7:19 this morning. It goes to bed at 5:25. If you got a comment, I will do my best to magnify your voice. I got Danny saying, he says, what about the basketballs? Oh, yes, last night. I have not been keeping track of it, Danny. My eyes have been on the game of snow, but I appreciate any updates. I'm sure they're going to have a very positive season. I have heard there's a lot of optimism with the Vols basketball team. Darcy says it's very chilly this morning. Saw a wet snow mixed with rain in Oak Ridge last night. Have a blessed weekend. Glad to have her here as well. And am I missing anybody? I'm looking at the other notes that might have come in sooner. Marilyn Bell says good morning. She says, happy Friday, travel safe. She did that before I got my system back up and running. So glad to have you all here. Again, sun now down at 5:25. Yes, there could be some flakes in the area, but a lot of it will fade away. As you can see illustrated from my animation, the bus comes in. We'll be in the upper 30s through 10 o'clock, and I think by the time we hit the 2 to 3:30 time frame, should be in the mid to upper 40s for an afternoon high temperature. Yes, we did manage to get a blue square. We got our second one of the month, but 2 weeks prior, it was record high at 82. You know what I'm saying? It's the pendulum. It's the low tide, high tide, and yet some people just, something's wrong. We're doing something wrong. I don't know if we're doing something wrong. We're just noticing it, right? So if you're going to get an average, clearly we have more orange squares, but maybe December flips the coin. Maybe we have more blue squares in December. These are the things I discuss in greater detail on my winter weather outlook on Premium. So I hope you'll join us there. 39 degrees at temperature currently in Knoxville. Huntington, West Virginia is at 34. But you kind of look around the country, most everyone has cooled down to some degree. I'm looking at Bismarck, they're at 16, while our friends down in Miami look like they're a balmy 58 degrees this morning. I'm sure they feel that's chilly. For Miami standards, if you're in flip-flops down there, 58 would probably seem pretty cold. And here's the outlook for the next couple of days, maybe 6 to 10 days. You're looking at Thanksgiving right through the 2nd of December. It's very cold in the Dakotas, and some of that's working its way in this direction. So be prepared, my friend. I always say that a great stocking stuffer idea is to gift somebody a weather fan in your family. Send them a $4.99 so they can join us on Premium. They can always sample us, maybe just for the winter season, but you'll find it very, very helpful, especially when you know that this could be just the start of something special if you're on Team Snow. And if you're on Team Tennessee, it's all about Go Vols tomorrow afternoon. It is an early game. It's 1 o'clock. As I've highlighted before, and pretty much all week, haven't moved the needle. I think we're in the upper 40s for kickoff. We're in the low 50s for an afternoon high. And maybe we squeeze out a 53 or 54, but I'll visit that again later today. I think at halftime we're in the low 50s and should end the game mostly sunny at 50. But tailgaters should anticipate. If you're up at 7, you're up 8 or 9, there will be some residual clouds that are still hanging around tomorrow morning before they break. Early flakes and drops today. Stray mountain flakes, that should be an S for tonight, mainly for the mountains, it's the MTN. And then early clouds to sun on Saturday. That's my expectation. Here's the Valley Planner. Average high now is 58. Notice how we could get there to 47 there between 2 and 3. So that's my expectation for the high is the afternoon. It won't necessarily occur at lunchtime like it has for the last couple of days, but early flakes and drops with a combination of clouds and hazy sun. And then I spiked up the chance of rain Monday night, Tuesday morning to 60. And then, of course, we've already highlighted a Thanksgiving day that could be very sloppy. So if you're leaving on Tuesday to Grandma's house on Tuesday, you should be fine. Wednesday's not too bad, but the 30% chance of showers on Wednesday should likely come in the second half of the day, afternoon primarily, before it really locks and reloads Wednesday night and into Thursday. That's when the rain filters back in. Storm Prediction Center is pretty void of any commentary. It looks like California has the chance for some isolated or maybe general thunderstorms. Nothing going on there, but it's quiet in Tennessee and will stay that way for the rest of your Friday. I can't believe it's the weekend, but it's here. By Saturday, some of those general thunderstorms could stretch into Idaho, maybe even to southwest Montana, but another ho-hum day. We've got clouds to sun, and Sunday is going to be gorgeous. Sunday's high temperature should be in the should be around 60, upper 50s to 60 degrees for Sunday. I think you'll love the way Sunday looks because it's a beautiful day from start to finish. Here's the futurecast as it shows the snow moving out, at least from our region. It stays and lingers in the Smokies. There's 8 a.m. I still see some flakes there at midday. And as I mentioned, the winter weather advisory has been extended until early Saturday morning. This is 5 o'clock today. It looks like it's rain in, say, Ashland, Kentucky, or maybe Pikeville, but it may be snowing in southwest Virginia. Then we slide into the evening hours. That's when the flakes come back in the higher terrain. It's not here, but it's pretty highly localized. I don't think tonight's nearly as activity-wise. It won't be as active tonight as it was last night or this morning. 5 o'clock tomorrow, I think we've got 9 and 2 vols instead of 8 and 2. We'll have a victory under our belt by 5 p.m. And by Sunday, I think mostly sunny skies will cover temperatures again around 60 for your Sunday afternoon. It's not until Monday, until really I think late in the day, some of these showers will come in like so, and it'll begin to filter in. So here's your forecast. It's 7 o'clock straight up. I want to finish this close on time as I can. Clouds and hazy sun, early flakes and drops. Winds pick up and will be gusting 25 to 30 today. Not quite as strong as yesterday, but the Smokies, always a different environment. 45 for Morristown and Wartburg. Look for a high in Lafayette, Campbell County at 45, and in Anderson County, Clinton, Oak Ridge, even Norris should be around 47 for the afternoon high, but 50 in Athens. If you're traveling today, 50 in Atlanta, 42 in Lexington, Memphis 51, and temperatures about 48 to 51 back towards Charlotte. Now tonight, we're down to a chilly 38, mostly cloudy. I believe last night's low was 36. That was the overnight low, so tonight maybe not as cold, but there will be those flakes that linger in the higher hills. Tonight we're down to 38 for Morristown, 37 for Newport, and should be closer to freezing in Sevierville, Pigeon Forge, and Gatlinburg, and 33 for Crossville first thing tomorrow morning, about 37 for Karnes, 38 for McGee-Tyson Airport. Here's your Captain Accurate Weather Authority forecast for Knoxville, East Tennessee. You'll notice there's a little bit of a warming trend tomorrow and into Sunday and into Monday. But then I have the down arrow because that 61 on Tuesday may very well come between midnight and 5 a.m. We'll spend most of Tuesday in the 50s and gradually getting cooler, settles into the upper 50s Wednesday, which is Travel Wednesday, and then we have an 80% chance of rain. Then we've got a rainmaker that could be some localized flooding potentially. But right now I think an inch, inch and a quarter is probably reasonable this far out. We're still about 6.5, 7 days out before the big game, lots of games, but before the big meal is served on Thursday. If you're on the call, we're going to say hi to you again. If I'm just checking messages here, it is 7:01. I'm looking at Janet Potts. She's on here. She wanted to share a note. Have a good weekend. Go Vols. Happy to have her here. And I see Chad Kane with a question. He says, does the weather come from the west? Ours, does it come from the north? We get weather from all the directions, Chad. If you remember, Helene came up from the south, a hurricane that was eventually a tropical storm for us. But when it comes to winter weather, systems that typically come from the west or north will usually give us that horseshoe effect. It's the southern sliders, the southern systems that come in between Atlanta and Chattanooga. That usually brings us, in Knoxville at least, more heavy snows. Of course, it has to be cold, and they have to be in phase. Sometimes we get the southern sliders, and then the cold air arrives. That doesn't work either. It's like two kids on a playground. They're not in sync. If it's not in sync or in phase, it doesn't always come to pass. So that's the forecast. Keep in mind, a very wet Thanksgiving is on tap. If you want to follow us on YouTube, go to youtube.com. I'd love to have you subscribe to us. It's /@CaptainAccurate. It is free to join us there. We've added so many benefits to the app, including a 10-day forecast. You mean you give a 10-day forecast? I do. It's on virtually any city in America or anywhere in the world, whether it be Tokyo, Japan, or London, England, or even Germany. Maybe I don't know where you're going to fly off to, faraway places. Having a 10-day forecast can be very helpful. It is generally a general pattern or trend, but you're also getting 3 special alerts from Barron that relate to severe weather. Lightning alerts, we've now added the drought monitor, and even power outages. So I think you'll be impressed. If you haven't downloaded it, please do so. That's free. If you want something extra, some of you would love to know where we're going to be for Christmas Eve. We talked about that last night on Premium. Do we have any snow chances? Are you dreaming of a white Christmas? You want to check out my 15-minute winter weather outlook, plus other posts that I do throughout the day on Premium. Just one of the many benefits of joining us. It's only $4.99 a month. You become a supporter, the first to see my snow forecast and every forecast if you want to join us. And you also benefit because we focus on weather that goes 2 weeks, 30 days into the future. You're also benefiting because you get more Facebook Lives from me on Sundays, typically. To help you plan the week ahead. You get fewer ads. One of the other benefits, just join us. And all you have to do is hit the subscribe button at the top of my Facebook page. Love to have you join us and sample us at any time. Well, my name is David Aldridge. Some people call me Captain Accurate. It's not easy being accurate, so weather doesn't surprise you. Take some of those pictures, post them. I'd love to see if did you get some snow or did you see some snow. Let me know what you think in the comments section. We'll see you here a little bit later today. Bye-bye.